encountered Jesus that really sprung your faith into action?
I encountered Jesus many years ago, and if that's what you'd like to know, I know exactly when it was, in March in 1976. And I was invited to make a cursillo. After 2 years, I finally said yes. It took many invitations, because I should tell you, I was a very, very shy person, very fearful of standing out in a crowd. So in 1976, when I made cursillo, I had a very awakening time. It was very simple. The 4 days we were involved in listening to talks and writing things down on a big piece of paper. And at the end of the day, the number of tables was about 5 or 6. Each table would get up with 2 people holding on to the paper and 1 person explaining what we had on there. Well, it took to the last day, the last talk, for them to twist my arm to get up there just to hold the paper. And when I did that, something just came over me, sort of. I said, gee. And then the cursillo was over. We had a chance to share our experience after the cursillo. We had a number of people come in at the end, and I was too shy to say anything, even though I wanted to. But for some reason or other, they asked me to be on teams the next cursillo. So for some reason, I think God was working. He said, Allan, you should say yes this time. So I said yes, and I gave a talk. And at the end of the weekend, they were first time it's ever happened, the leader of cursillo said that the team could go up and give what they thought of the weekend. That was the very first time that happened. I managed to get up and do that. And the only reason why I was able to do that was because every evening the team would get together at midnight and go to the chapel at the cathedral. We were doing it in the hall of the cathedral. But during the prayer time, there quietly came over us a kind of a sort of a soft light and peace. It was just, we just wanted to stay there. We didn't want to move. The Lord was present with us. And from that point on, my life changed. I started to say yes instead of no to people's requests for me to get involved. Ultimately, I said yes to join the diaconate. So the rest is history. I've been involved in being a deacon for almost 43 years, and every time I have a little bit of difficult time thinking about the diaconate, I just think of that moment back in front of the tabernacle, and it all goes away. And I know the Lord is with me.
Can you quickly tell us a little bit about how you felt God was calling you to be a deacon?
When I was a teenager, funny, one day I was at Mass with my dad, and I said to myself, while I was listening to the homily, I would like to do that. I wish I could do that, what the priest was doing. Can you imagine? And many, many years later, here I was doing it. So I think God kind of set a seed there to maybe think about it. And just knowing that my life had changed completely, that I was able to do so many things that I was afraid to do before, and knowing God was with me all the time that I undertook these things to do. What it was, it didn't matter what it was, whether it was family, with church, or at work. If I found something difficult, I knew God was there. So every time that happened at the beginning, I thought it was a reinforcement. Yeah, God wants me to do this. I haven't fallen on my head yet, and one big thing that God told me, I think through Bishop Carter, one day he said, you have to learn how to laugh at yourself, because that's what Jesus is. He's laughing at you if you make a mistake. So why should you be angry? So I've always remembered that, and most of the time I would laugh at myself when I make a boo-boo. Yeah.
And what has been the most rewarding for you as a deacon in the church?
I guess my most rewarding time within the church proper, outside of the church and the city itself, where I got involved as well, but in the church is just forming relationships with my people, I call them, the congregation. Getting to know people, especially when I came here from another church, and for the last 12 years I've gotten to know a lot of people and grown close to very many people. And my most favorite time in ministry is giving communion. Yeah, that touches me deeply.
And if there are people out there who are discerning the ministry of a deacon, what advice would you give to them?
I would say that to speak with deacons who are presently serving, to talk it over with your family for sure, if you happen to have a family at the time, and to pray a lot, to speak to God personally, form a relationship with God in your prayer life. And if God is speaking to you, you should be, there should be some action result from your prayer life. In the Crusader movement, there was 3 things that we were told to always remember, and that was piety, study, and action. So we need to pray, and we need to study, we need to read about our faith, and go to workshops and so forth, but from that comes action. I always felt that action came from somebody asking you to do something. So that's when I learned to say yes, and got involved with the people in this parish especially. It's been great.